Hey friends, we're so glad you're here and have tuned into So, What Makes You Come Alive podcast. We're your hosts, Gabe the Girl
and Michaela McGee, and we're here to explore what it would look like to take ownership of and change the narratives of our lives to live a life fully alive.
All right, everybody, welcome back for yet another week of So What Makes You Come Alive. This week, we have an amazing guest that Gabe is going to introduce us to.
Hey everybody, it's Gabe the Girl here. Today we have Daniel Heffington, and I know Daniel through some mutual friends who were getting married, and he was the DJ, an awesome DJ, I have to say. You're welcome. We had a great time that evening, and he is also the brother of one of our previous guests who was on not too long ago, Rachel. Rachel Heffington. Her new last name is Laudo. Am I saying that correct?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Rachel Laudo.
A D or a T, depending on who's saying it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we were talking with Rachel. We were like, man, we would love to like interview some more people that you might know of or might recommend. She's like, you should talk to my brother. I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Like he's so cool. And I would love to interview him and even get to know Daniel a little bit more. So Daniel, would you kind of introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about yourself? Maybe a fun fact.
Yeah, sure. Well, one of the funnest facts is I'm Rachel Heffington Lauto's brother, and that this is fun because growing up we were very much a duo, and one of us would always be the one introducing the other one. It was like there wasn't like some siblings, they've got the whole like I'm the lead sibling and then I introduce my little brother or sister. We were kind of like we would just ping off and just introduce each other all the time. But my name's Daniel Heffington. I am a singer-songwriter. I work for a nonprofit as a day job, but I spend a lot of hours in the, nights, weekends, lunch breaks, whatever it is, creating art, writing songs, and DJing and doing, kind of that side of music as well. I'm a worship leader, so I play church music and do that. And I kind of have a busy, full life. I'm married with 3 little kids, and we live in Northern Virginia, not too far from DC, about an hour drive on a good day. And I get to travel around and help people celebrate life events and play shows and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I will say, like, I was coordinating that weekend. I occasionally will help to weekend coordinate, and Daniel is one of those people that, like, as a DJ, I never had to worry about whether he was ready or had, like I didn't have to cue him or what. He's like so chill, so laid back, like, yeah, I got that, yeah, let's move on to this, like, and then really could like read the room to like be like, okay, we should maybe play this song next, or or whatnot. But I was like, man, this whole wedding experience was delightful because of the caterer was even great too. But
well, that's very kind of you, and you were great to work with too. It's a good vibe all around.
Yeah, I think it was great. So now we get to have you here and get to talk with you a bit more.
Indeed.
About the things that make you come alive and the things that light you up. You mentioned that you're a singer-songwriter, but we'd love to hear more just about Daniel.
Yeah, man. I think that one of the things, this is a hard question to answer because it depends on kind of what circle of life I'm thinking about. Not like a Lion King reference, but like, the sector. Yeah, not holding Simba up there.
Yes.
But like, we
can.
Yeah, in my like creative world, I'd say what lights me up is when I'm able to either articulate or translate an idea that's like, somewhat transcendent and life-changing or impactful, whether that's just playing a great song or writing a great song or creating a moment in a space and time where people are like really connected and locked in, and there's just like, everybody's feeling the vibe. And that translates whether it's a show I'm playing of my original stuff or it's like a major moment like a wedding or graduation, where my job is to help. I basically help when I meet with people who want me to DJ their event. I'm like, yeah, like what we're talking about is me DJing your event, but really what we're talking about is creating a magical celebration for your significant day. So, just kind of creating those moments and saying like, what can we do to make that happen? And then when that comes off right, that makes me feel really alive. Is putting that coolness, that magic, intentionality, whatever you want to call it, and having that be a moment that everybody looks back on. They're like, oh yeah, something was connecting there, and we all kind of felt it.
That is so cool. I mean, it's true. And I think that when people actually slow down to think about what it is that they're planning, they might realize that. But what you do by bringing them into that part of the process, into the creative part of the process,
yeah,
I think that's really amazing.
It's fun. Yeah. It's in that celebration wedding context, I never want to just be like the, random like DJ that they found on Craigslist who shows up and is kind of like, I guess I can play you some sick beats. And then it's like, okay, hopefully that went off and it wasn't a train wreck, but it's not that meaningful,
That's awesome. Man,
So
when
good.
did you first realize that like you were like, man, this is really awesome. Like this really does light me up. Like, do you remember when that was?
There was different stages of coming to that realization. There was, there's photo evidence of me basically being a marching band leader with a giant Duplo Lego bucket on my head. My dad was in music, and he when I was a little kid, he ran a marching band. Like he was a band director for Virginia Beach Public Schools, and he literally ran a middle school marching band. And I would be like the little toddler where like I got my own mini uniform of everything the band had, and I would like march right alongside with them and do, so like that was like, music and a great moment. That was something at an early age that, I was just like, there's something here. And then we were part of a big church in Virginia Beach where he was on staff after he was done being a school teacher. And my job at like 11 years old was to come in early, late nights and like wrap all the mic cables and set up all the microphones. And just something about that like backstage production vibe, I was just like, oh, there's, electricity here. Not like actual, there was actual electricity there too. There's voltage,
practically there was electricity there.
But like there's something where it's just like, you smell that like weird like carpet and gaff tape and wires, and you're just like, yeah, okay, there's like creativity here, and we're gonna make something awesome. And then to have the chance, as I got older and then was like learning guitar, which is my main instrument. I play several, but that's my main instrument. And I had to come to grips with like early teenage years where all my friends played guitar and did it horribly. And I was like a bit of a musical, like, because my parents were professional musicians. It was like, hey, if you're going to do music, we take it seriously. And I was like annoyed. I was like, oh, these kids, they don't even know what chords they're playing. Well, a little bit snobby, a little bit bratty.
Pretentious. It's fine.
Yeah. But then I said I would never play guitar. I was like, that's just what dumb teenagers do, to try to make a lot of noise, and they don't even know how to be artistic with it. And I was like, what, like, a little bratty. But I was like, eventually I was given a guitar, and I was like, well, maybe there's something to this. And so I learned it. And then for the first time I got to, play stuff, it was like definitely like, you felt like kind of where you were meant to be, what you're meant to be doing. And my music started in church and then took, other kind of branched into a bunch of different directions. But especially in the church music vibe, I'm a Christian, and the initial thing there, I was like, wow, what it tells me in the Bible is like, one day somehow, kind of confusingly, I'm going to be like singing and worshiping kind of forever. So it's like, whoa, this is the one thing I get to do here right now on earth that like isn't going to majorly change when I go into a different realm of life. And you know what that, so it's like, whoa, it's like I'm getting a kickstart on something that I'm going to be like doing forever. Well, I like, you know, some people might be like, well, then do other stuff now because you're gonna be doing that later. But for me, it felt like I was like, whoa, that's cool. Because like, I don't know if I mean, hopefully I'll eat pizza in heaven, but like, you know, I don't know if I will. But it's like, you know, this is like you know, something that we're gonna be doing for a while. And then, you know, and then music in general, it's like performing for people. I was always the not show off kid, but like the like kind of the life of the party kid. I would be a goofball when it needed a goofball. I would be dramatic when it needed dramatic. And me and my sisters, you know, always got up to crazy stuff. And that was just like, you know, in both serious ways and lighthearted ways, doing that kind of entertaining or performing, I felt like was adding value and connected to something real that was like, yeah, this makes me feel like I'm doing what I was meant to do. Kind of a long answer.
You like long answers. That's why
we do. We appreciate the journey.
The podcast community tends to be ready to listen, so that's what I appreciate, because you know, it doesn't have to be sound bites.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be 30 seconds of some crazy video. It gets to be the full story. I love it. Man, well, so you did kind of touch on this a little bit, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about what actually inspires you to live a life that's fully alive.
Okay, yeah. So I gave crazy first time thing for me is I was invited to be a commencement speaker at a graduation this past weekend, and I did something that may mean that it's the only time I'll be invited to be a commencement speaker at graduation, because I gave a lot of the traditional stuff. But then I was like, one of the things that I think you should do as you head off into this life, into your future, is to remember that you die. And that, you know, that like you can take that too far and just be really depressing, but like, right. But like, you know, that there's a Latin phrase, memento mori, that has been around for a really long time, and different groups of people have emphasized it differently, but it basically means remember that you have to die. And I think that can be both help in the good times and the bad times, where it's like, you know, the story has an ending point. So in the good times, like, we got stuff to do, we've got meaning to be about. We're not just trying to kind of like endure till, you know, forever and hope we can make it. And in the dark times, it's like, hey, don't check out early. There is an ending. There is a closing. And then, you know, if you believe like I do, there's also a new beginning. But it's like, you know, like when you're in the dark chapter, that can just be chapter 5 of the book, and you don't know what's happening in chapter 7 or 8. So don't give up, you know. And so it's like, so anyways, that's probably too philosophical, but like the you know, since life is limited, and none of us really get that, because it's like we only know what being alive is, and it feels like forever in some ways. It's like everything we've ever known. Then sometimes it's like we might, I've, you know, in my own life gone through times where it's like just kind of, you know, cruise control along, versus like trying to be, you know, trying to be connected to like what you know really makes me come alive. And when you realize that it's limited, then it kind of, I don't know, for me, it makes me feel like, hey, maybe I should be doing the thing that's like the most, you know, to use your phrase, fully alive version of doing this. That's like, you know, not just kind of a, okay, I'm here, I was in the room, but I don't really remember what happened.
Yeah. I think there's something powerful about, realizing that we're not guaranteed, you know, a future. We're not guaranteed the next week.
Right.
And that can be like a semi like morbid sort of thought, I guess, if you go there, but it also can be a really it can be the encouragement that we need
Yeah.
to take
Yeah.
advantage of the opportunities we have in front of us, to use our gifts and our talents, to discover our gifts and talents, to
Right.
grow in our relationships, to tackle the hard things, because
Yep.
we know it'll make us better.
And like meaning isn't cool, like in popular circles, like it's not cool to be too Bono from the band U2. He has something that I've wanted ever since I read it in a big Rolling Stone article. I was like, that's the kind of musician I want to be, which he was saying as a band with U2 back when they were coming up. He's like, we're insufferably earnest. And that's like so not cool in whether it's the rock and roll world or many, I think, social media world or whatever, where it's like we want to be really ironic and really chill and really to be sincere and enthusiastic is like, that's a little weird. I don't know why you're so excited about this. Also, that seems like you're giving away a lot of where you're coming from. You're wearing your heart on your sleeve. And I'm not necessarily a person who wears my heart on my sleeve, but in my music, I want to be earnest and real, and I can have fun and be ironic at times, but like there's something real behind it.
It's almost like there's some irony in that, though. This, like, people do want to live a life that is lit up,
Yeah.
There is that desire within us, and yet this life that we sometimes put out on social media is a mask. It's whatever we think other people want to see of us, when the irony is like, oh my gosh, if we were just authentic to who we really are, if we were as weird as we really are, people would love that version of us, and we'd feel so much more free to feel fully alive.
Yeah. And I think that that's interesting, because I think that feeling fully alive is like, theoretically people want it, but sometimes we're also not sure if we want it, because like on paper it's like, yeah, okay, do you want to be half alive or fully alive? Well, I guess fully alive, but but like when we think about it and we're like, well, what if have I ever been fully alive? What if everything I've ever known was not that? And then like, what are you going to say? You're going to turn my world upside down? It's like, it can be like a, I think ultimately it's always the most rewarding, best choice for on all levels. But sometimes it's like, it can be scary too, because you're like, I don't know. I've only known this, and this kind of works. At least it's gotten me this far. But of course, maybe you're walking around and you're like, there's a lot that's not ideal here, but it's what I know,
Yeah. I think, that's what makes these conversations so cool. Everything's unique. Like the way that one person feels lit up, the things that make somebody come alive are different from person to person. And everybody's had different experiences with different things. So although I love music and can appreciate music and used to play a little bit, it's, it's not like, those are the things right now that I gravitate towards when I'm like, man, I just need to spend some time doing something that makes me feel like I'm alive.
Yeah.
But it honestly, I mean, for Michaela and I both, like, I know that we feel alive when we have these conversations with our listeners, because I don't know, it lights something up inside of us to hear how other humans are experiencing their own, unique part of life in the world and in their corner. And just
I feel like, and maybe I don't know what you guys would say to this, but for me, it's like there's a menu of things, like not a menu, but like there's like a list of things that make me feel fully alive, and they don't all have to be happening at once. But it's like, I feel fully alive right now. That like I love these type of conversations too. So I'm obviously not playing a show right now, which is what I said a minute ago. But it's like, but this also makes me feel like I'm fully alive and part of what I'm meant to be doing, which is having meaningful, real interactions and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's like for me, there's also, yeah, it's not like one thing, but it's more of like there's definitely a way of being that makes me
Mm.
feel fully alive. There's kind of a presence or an attitude that like wherever you are, you can be fully alive. But then there's also specific items that I'm like, yeah, this is, I felt fully alive when I was tubing this weekend after I spoke at the commencement. My dad took us out on his pontoon boat and like whipped us around on those floaty things. And I was like, yeah, my arms were hurting. I scraped my knee on some sharp shell, but I'm
Oh
like, I'm
no.
like, but that was also pretty vibrant and like, real.
Yeah, I was getting beat up, losing some blood. I felt really alive.
Yeah, and the wind was whipping in my face, and literally 5 fish jumped in my face. But I was
Oh
like,
my
that felt
gosh.
awesome. I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned a little bit earlier about how, I think deep down inside, all of us, if we looked at a piece of paper and said, do I want to be half alive or fully alive, would say they want to be fully alive. But sometimes the things that come with pursuing a life that's fully lit up are maybe not necessarily what we would desire to
Mm-hmm.
experience or go through.
Yeah.
So like for you, what have been some challenges that you've faced in pursuing living a life that is fully lit up?
Yeah. One, on like the scary side, like the that feels scary side is like um unrealized dreams,
Mm.
things that you're like, if I'm honest with myself, I think this is inside of me and will come out at some point. Like I think this is something I was meant to do, or have the potential to do, or want to do, and being to kind of acknowledge if there's a space, and it doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be like right now life is toxic and harmful, and one day I want life to be beautiful. It can be like right now life is beautiful, and I also think that one day I'll do this thing, but I can't say for sure I'll do it because it's like I don't, I think most of us have those things that like it is kind of a dream or it is kind of a desire, but we don't know if it'll really work out. And it doesn't have to work out, but like to be able to live in that tension and say, hey, I think I would love to do this, or one day I will do this, is like, it opens the door to disappointment,
Yeah.
but it also opens the door to really great stuff. So I think that that's something that over time it's safer, or it feels like more self-preserving to say, well, maybe we won't really talk about those things because right now we have what we have, and that's at least, if I'm only expecting what I currently have, can't really be let down. I mean, you could lose it, but it's like I have it, so I know that I know that it's here, right? So to just
Totally.
kind of open yourself to dreaming or open yourself to stuff that could come was something, probably in areas it's still a journey for me, but definitely was something where it was like, hey, you got to open yourself up to disappointment, to open yourself up to great things too. So that's one part of it, I'd say. And then the other part is like realizing that kind of like you can be fully alive even in the things that don't necessarily make you feel fully alive. Like for me, if I was going to say what's my Saturday morning where I feel most fully alive, it would be like sleep in quite late, wake up and find really good, like walk down the street and find like really good brunch and great coffee, and not really have to use my my brain. No matter what time I get up, my brain doesn't, I'm a night person, and my brain doesn't turn on till like 10 a.m. Like I can be up at 6, but my brain won't start making sense until 10 a.m. And the like that would be kind of my fully alive weekend, would be like, just go with the flow and wake up when I wake up and find great food and find great coffee and hang out with friends and have tacos for dinner and play laser tag.
Nice.
But like there's also Saturday mornings. I'm a dad and I have 3 kids who I love, and I want to make sure that they have everything they need, that I can give them. So there's some Saturday mornings. Now, my wife is awesome, and she will often let me sleep in or we'll take turns sleeping in or something like that. But there's a lot of Saturday mornings where even if what I think would make me fully alive is like sleep in and have nice coffee, really I'm getting up at 6 and laying on the couch trying to be a responsible adult and keep them alive for a few hours, and it's
Keep
like
the kids alive.
yeah, and it's like so I think not attention, maybe attention, but the lesson is like not attaching a sense of being fully alive to like just the things I really want to be doing. So like being able to be fully alive when I'm doing the dishes, or being able to be fully alive when I'm doing my taxes, or like whatever it is that whatever it is that I hate or not hate. I don't hate the dishes; they're fine. But like that's not necessarily my top list of what moments where Daniel feels fully alive.
Totally.
But try and navigate that. Basically, the navigation of accepting the things that's like the correct, responsible amount of like, hey, I'm not gonna be thrilled about everything I'm called to do in this moment, but not shutting that down so hard that you rule out dreams or you rule out things changing, because it's like, in a sense, you can accept whatever circumstance you're in too hard to where you're like, I don't know, nothing else after this, it's dishes forever, who cares? It's like, no, because dishes stop and then I go on to write a song or something like that. And then it's like, so making sure that I remember all sides of that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. There are all sides. Oh my gosh, words. It's a good thing I'm not trying to talk on a podcast or anything right now.
No, good.
Jeez. But I do think that that's like, it's such an important point to realize, or to remember, I guess, that like with every time that we're saying yes to this like growth or expansion or living life more fully, it does come with potential for maybe not, I don't like the word negative in this situation, but like the difficult sides of things, like the challenges and everything. I love your perspective of finding a way to be lit up when doing your taxes. That does not sound like any fun at all.
Don't know if I've ever done that, but being open to the possibility.
Yes, but it's that right there. It's like being open to the possibility of like, okay, how can I make this a situation where like I just am bringing life into it? Like I'm going to be lit up no matter what. Like I could sing a song while doing the dishes. I can have fun with my kids, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Taxes is a little different situation. Yeah. That's like next level. I feel like it takes a really special person to actually find joy in those situations.
Maybe you're called to be an accountant.
Yes, actually, that is true. Yeah. And if you feel like you are lit up when you are doing your taxes, reach out to me, because I would love to have your assistance.
We would love to interview you.
Amazing.
Please fill out our type form.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But I mean, there were so many things that I feel like that you just said, well, for sure over the course of this conversation, but like that you just said about focusing on what joy, I guess, can you find in these not so great situations, or maybe more mundane situations.
Yeah.
I love all of that stuff. Is there one golden nugget of wisdom that you can leave with our audience who would be desiring to pursue a life that's fully lit up? Because I feel like you shared with us how you do it so well, and then even how it can be done in the mundane.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if this will be a nugget of wisdom or not, but I'll just talk. But
perfect.
I think a big part of it, at least if you're like me, like I don't think I'm a cynical person. But because I'm pretty funny, I'm pretty I'm pretty lighthearted. I believe in that. Like I believe like you should not become old and boring because you get older. I'm like in high school I had friends that were like, all right, I'm basically middle aged now, and I'm like, no, I'll be probably 40, 50 and still be acting insane. But like being open. That being said, that's my bent. I also have a bent that's like pretty cold, hard reality when I'm thinking about my own future and being like, let's be realistic. Is that likely? I'm not I'm in that sense, I'm a glass half empty person where I'm like, I'll have a dream and then I'll kill the dream and I'll be like, prove it, dream. You're like not like, you know,
Your poor
not
dreams.
yeah, not I've actually, maybe I won't say that's how I am because I think I've grown in that, but definitely just like navigating life, I spent a lot of time in that zone. That's kind of like, you know, like beating up my dreams and being like, can you take it? And that, you know, that's kind of rough, I think. And so definitely being open to being fully lit up and fully alive, and realizing that that's something that you ultimately were designed for, and figuring out what that means, because it doesn't mean just only doing the stuff that you instantly want to do. It doesn't mean, like, if you like video games, which I do, I think they're great, and if you play video games 24/7, I will guarantee you're not going to be fully lit up and alive. You're going to be numbed out and kind of dull, you know. So figuring out what that means, and opening your heart to being that sense of like, whoa, this is really good. Not just I can get through this. This will be okay. We can survive, you know, but like, you know, it's kind of classic or cliche to say thrive versus survive, but, you know, like, being open to thriving, and looking, you know, being honest and being like, if I feel like I'm not in a pattern of thriving, what can change, what should change. I tend to recommend against the, like, you know, I'm going to cut every tie I've ever had and revolutionize my life and family. What? I don't care about you anymore. I'm off. You know, like, I'm going to pursue my true calling. Maybe you should. It depends on who you're connected with, I guess. But typically, you know, there's small changes or incremental changes that you can say, hey, I'm going to choose to do more of this and less of this, because I think that is growing life in me versus numbing me out or just cruise controlling along.
Yeah. My gosh. Okay. I love the way that you phrase the be open to thriving versus surviving. Like, I think that we've all heard that I want to thrive, not just survive thing, but you can want it all you want, but if you're not going to do anything about it, that's on you. But I feel like sometimes we don't do anything about it because we're not actually open to thriving.
Yeah.
We're just settling.
Right. And we think that maybe, I think that the scare, like the nagging fear is maybe this is what thriving already looks like for me. Like, maybe for me, there's not a better.
Right.
And I don't think that's true. I think that's a lie, but it's an easy lie to believe, because it's that little logical jump of like, oh yeah, what if my attitude is just wrong and I've peaked? You know, it's like,
I'm 25 years old and I've peaked.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And you know, yeah, believing that there's more than that, because there is, you know, kind of that whole, to take it back to like, remember you die. I think the reason I like that is because it helps you to not forget to be alive. You're like, you don't have, like, don't waste your time being half dead now, because there's a time when you're gonna be fully dead. Like,
bring it. I think I need to lay down on the floor for just a second and let that sink into my core. Wait, continue.
But you know, yeah, it's like that kind, you know, and I say it to myself as much as anybody else, but it's like, you know, that like, why work? Like, we don't know the day of that, but there is a day of that. So don't worry about, like, live as much as you can, like right now. And when I say live, I mean in the truly life-giving ways, not like live it up and risk. Like, you know,
like there ain't no tomorrow. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Not like live it up in a harmful, toxic way that means you'll probably will die tomorrow. But more like a, don't miss out. Don't forget that there's a chapter called life, and you're in it. So feel it and live it.
Oh my gosh.
Slow clap.
Drop that mic.
I know. I can't drop any mics anymore. Mine's attached to my table.
Yeah, don't drop that one. That was gold.
Amazing. Golly. I mean, you said, I don't know if this will be a nugget. I'll just talk it out. And I'm pretty
like
sure.
15 nuggets.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we pulled through Chick-fil-A and ordered a 12 pack of
funny.
golden nuggets. Like,
That's funny. I don't, it may have been more of like a dump truck load of filled dirt, and maybe there's some stuff inside of it.
No,
it definitely wasn't one nugget, because a one nugget you can like repeat. I don't think anyone could repeat what.
There were several repeatable nuggets.
Okay. That's nice of you to say.
I like the Chick-fil-A imagery.
I do like that. That was pretty great.
I've got the golden nuggets. The chocolate factory one.
Wow. I like this. Jumping from Charlie to Willie. We're just going.
Yeah.
We started with The Lion King.
Exactly.
Bring it back, Simba. Come on.
That's right.
All right. Yes. Oh my gosh, Daniel. Thank you so much for being here today.
For sure. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, this was an awesome conversation.
I feel like we could just continue to talk for another couple of hours about all of this stuff.
Anytime. You guys know how to get a hold of me. And if you're ever, back, if you ever want to go tubing in Virginia, I know a dad with a pontoon boat, so we can all just
perfect.
We can all just
we'll
meet
feel fully
up.
alive with the fish on our faces.
Yeah,
so if any of you are
weird.
feeling like you don't know what makes you feel fully alive, and you want to get in touch with Daniel and his dad,
try hanging on for dear life to a floaty and not knowing if you're in the shallow water or the channel.
Oh boy!
No. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, life has value.
This is true. I choose to thrive.
Yeah. Okay, I've had enough. Reel me in.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think in one of our episodes I've actually teared up from crying. Or no. From
or teared up from crying.
Teared up from
a little bit of both.
Sure, a little bit of both. Woo. Oh
That's
my goodness.
amazing.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys for being here, for listening, for tuning in. Thank you, Daniel, for sharing your story, sharing and being honest and open with us about the challenges that you've faced in pursuing a life fully alive. And if you guys have any questions for Daniel or questions for us, if anything stuck out to you, resonated with you, if you want to get in touch with Daniel's dad, leave us a comment, shoot us an email. You can drop a comment in one of our social media accounts at @ThriveFullyAlive, or send us an email at thrivefullyalive@gmail.com. And until next week, see you later.
Yeah. Later, skater. We just get cooler every week, man.
That's awesome.
Thanks for tuning in to So What Makes You Come Alive. We're so inspired by the conversations we get to have with everyday humans about what lights them up and how to love the story they're living. We hope that you feel just as inspired too.
Interested in getting in on the inspiration? Click the link in our Instagram bio @ThriveFullyAlive and select the option for The One About You, Be Our Guest. Remember to tune in each week for a new episode where we explore what it looks like to get back to living our best story, where we hope that your favorite story becomes your own.